Hello and welcome to A Satanic Perspective. Today I wanted to cover a subject that is very near and dear to me, and that is the worship of death. Now, the reverence or glorification of death is actually very common. Death takes center stage in most of the world's large religions, from Christianity and Islam to Buddhism and Hinduism. The biggest thing about it, though, is that in many of these beliefs, death is more of a means to an end, an obstacle. In the belief that I follow, death itself is the focal point. Death, as we see it on this earth, is a transformative process. It takes what is and turns it into something else. Death is the reason we have food and air and the ground beneath our feet. The constant destruction and repurposing of material feeds the cycle and keeps us, the planet, and even the universe going. The, quote, shadow of death is nothing more than change. It doesn't take our loved ones away from us. Nothing in this small moment in space and time ever truly leaves. It is only transformed. Death makes equals out of us all, and puts our limited perspective in its place. Death welcomes all things with open arms. There are no sinners or saints in the eyes of death, no rich or poor, no lost and no broken. In fact, the only negative that comes from death is from mankind, and that is the fear of death. The fear of death drives people to do absolutely insane, selfish, downright cruel things, all in the name of self-preservation. But this primitive, competitive urge is in vain. Nothing can stop the cycle. We've advanced as a society enough that we should understand that. The mystics and spiritualists of our kind have known and taught this for millennia. The common people just don't listen. So that may be a good reason to hold death in high regard, or be it respected. But what about worship? As I have stated many times, each individual is different, and different experiences lead to different beliefs, so I can't speak for anyone other than myself on this. However, my view is that the worship of death is the highest form of satanic devotion. In the lowest level, change creates fulcrum points for motion, wherein the clever and well-prepared can maneuver themselves into better positions. Beyond that, death's shadow becomes death's presence, i.e., entropy. Entropy is the force of decay, of dissolution within this reality. It is the process that breaks down all things to their base material. Entropy is the reason you grow old. It is the reason things rot. It is the reason the sun will eventually go dark. Everything is experiencing entropy. On an esoteric scale, this is the gravitational force of death, like a black hole pulling all things into its inescapable maw. It is the process of the ordered, categorized universe falling into chaos and disorder. What more pure expression of death can we have in this life than entropy? Death, who we only commonly consider as but a fleeting moment, a veil between worlds, between being and non-being. Thus in the rot, the stink of a carcass, the separation of flesh from bone, we have the purest essence of death in our world. Thus we have the reasoning for worship. For if the shadow of death is change, and the presence of death is entropy, then death itself, when decontextualized from our culture, societal bias, and willful ignorance, death is the end of all things. A transcendent point which all life and existence spirals towards. Now we all have our ideas of an afterlife of some kind, but what if we consider the afterlife less as a destination, a resultant of death, more as a result of a slingshot effect of coming close to death, but being sent around and out? Then, to understand death itself, we must consider what ceases when someone or something is touched by death. To translate this into metaphysical concepts, death is outside of time, space, and thought. It is beyond life, motion, and all current concepts of dimension. It is the purest blackness and cessation of reality itself. But still, why worship death? As an esoteric or theistic Satanist, it is our duty to turn our eyes away from the hollow world of the mundane that we see before us, away from the duality and the constant push and pull that attempts to trap us. The best way to do this is to reject all concepts of good or bad, be they instilled by society or by our primitive monkey brain trying to preserve itself. We seek something higher, the Most High. It is often said that the brightest light casts the darkest shadow, that when beholding the face of God, man has invariably recoiled in fear and weeping. Thus, it stands to reason that the Most High is truly the one thing that all things fear. Thus, the true Satanist rejects all that is considered holy and good, and embraces the venomous and corrosive, seeking the purest divine in that which burns away the illusion of flesh and self, so that we may see the truth beyond the concealing veils of life. If that sounds extreme, it's because it is. You see, I'm not here to convert anyone to Satanism. I'm not trying to make it sound easier or palatable, or anything less than what it is. Make no mistake, I'm here to serve the devil and bring glory to the name of Satan. Satanism is not for everybody. It's not supposed to be. People want their illusions, their comfort. Satanism is for those who specifically seek to leave behind their comfort and never return. To break their illusions, even if it means seeing pain and horror they previously couldn't comprehend, and to accept it with open arms. You can't resolve duality if you can't accept the whole side of existence. Whatever heights you imagine and desire, you must be willing to accept equal depth. Transcendence is seeing and experiencing it all as equal. Well, now that I've hopefully disgusted the yuppies looking for self-justification and happy-go-lucky acceptance, I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, if you have questions or suggestions for a subject of one of the next videos, leave a comment down below. Until next time, my name is Cain Del Sol, and this has been A Satanic Perspective.